Hello, this is an estate and gift tax online video module, and we've been talking about the annual exclusion. This short video will just go through a few examples. I'm Professor Donna Byrne at William Mitchell College of Law. Thank you for joining us. Let's go back to the other format. Now, this is review. Here's that super important rule again. If we do not have a completed gift, we don't care about the annual exclusion. We don't care about present interest. So step one, is there a gift? Step two, is the gift complete? And step three, is it a gift of a present interest? Don't skip those other steps. That's like skipping breakfast. It's not healthy. Okay, so first of all, I want to point out that there are some examples in the regulations that can be really helpful to you here. And some of the problems in your casebook come from the regulations. So here's our first example. Alice transfers stock in XYZ Inc. to her nephew Michael. What are the gift tax consequences of transferring stock? Well, it's a transfer of property without consideration, so it is a gift. The gift is complete because she has not kept any control or any ability to change. And it is a gift of a present interest because Michael has the immediate right to receive any dividends. A corporation has a profit motive, so this is very different from hackle, and nobody here has discretion about whether to transfer dividends to Michael. So even though the corporation may not be planning to pay dividends for some time, whatever is accruing now will go to Michael, and that's good enough. This is a present interest. Now, what if XYZ Inc. is closely held and has never paid dividends? This is still a present interest. Assuming the corporation does have a profit motive and there are no impediments to withdrawing or selling the interest, which we assume is the case, even if it's a limited partnership interest, usually it's treated as a present interest. So this is a little different from hackle. In hackle, the father had discretion about whether to make distributions. Okay, life insurance. We talked a little bit about life insurance. Andrew transfers a term life insurance policy on his life to his niece Nancy. What are the gift tax consequences? Now let's assume that Andrew has a life expectancy of 15 years. Actually, anything more than an hour would be enough. So this is a transfer of property. I know we don't think about life insurance as property, but a life insurance policy is a property interest. Andrew has not received consideration, so it is a gift. And he hasn't held on to any strings. This is a completed gift. Now, is it a gift of a present interest? Yes. Even though life insurance does not pay anything until the insured person dies, if we've transferred all of the incidents of ownership, this is a gift of a present interest. Now, here's where the regs are really helpful. Look what they say. The term future interest has no reference to such contractual rights as exist in a bond, note, or in a policy of life insurance, the obligations of which are to be discharged by payments in the future. So there you have it. The answer is right there in the regs. I invite you to explore the regs and always go there first if the code doesn't give you a complete answer. How about this one then? Andrew transfers a term life insurance policy on his life to his niece Nancy. Oh, this is the same one. Sorry. So based on that reg we just looked at, this is a gift of a present interest, even though the life insurance doesn't pay until later. Now, what if instead Andrew transfers the life insurance to a trust with a bank trustee for the benefit of Nancy? Now, the trust owns the policy. The insurance proceeds will be paid to the trustee when Andrew dies, and the trustee will then pay proceeds to Nancy at that time. So this is a complete gift, and it's a gift to Nancy, but Nancy does not have an immediate right to use, possession, enjoyment, or income from the life insurance policy. Instead, what she has is an interest in the trust, and it's a future interest. She doesn't get anything until later. Now, what if Nancy already owns the policy on Andrew outright, and Andrew just pays the premiums? Okay, now, from the regs again, L pays premium on a policy of insurance on his life. All of the incidents of ownership in the policy are vested in M, someone else. The payment of premiums by L constitutes a gift of a present interest in property. So there is a present interest. There's an annual exclusion for each premium payment. Okay, something a little different. Agnes transfers Blackacre to a corporation, and the shareholders of the corporation are her nieces and nephews. Okay, first of all, she has made completed gifts to the nieces and nephews, right? A gift to a corporation is a gift to the shareholders, usually. And that comes from the regs also, but this is a different section. This is 2511, one of the general sections about gifts. But is this a gift of a present interest? The nieces and nephews do not have an immediate right to the use of Blackacre or to the income from it. That goes to the corporation. So this is a gift of a future interest to them. No annual exclusion. Now what if, on the other hand, the corporation is a non-profit corporation, not owned by the nieces and nephews? Or it's a non-profit corporation. Well, now this is a little bit different. So in our example, this is from your book, Agnes transfers Blackacre to Country Club, which is a non-profit entity, and it's tax exempt under Section 501c7. Now, tax exempt under 501c7 doesn't let you get a deduction for income tax purposes. And I think that's why she picked this example, so that we're not talking about whether we get a charitable deduction. We're just talking about whether we get an annual exclusion from the gift tax. Now, most gifts to corporations are gifts to the shareholders, but a gift to a tax-exempt nonprofit corporation is a single gift to the corporation. And the corporation does have the immediate right to use, enjoyment, possession, or income of Blackacre. So this is a gift of a present interest, and Agnes gets one annual exclusion. Okay, let's talk about gifts to trusts. Remember that a gift to a trust is treated as a gift to each beneficiary, and we have to analyze each interest separately. We did that for determining whether those gifts were complete, and we also have to do this to determine whether those are gifts of present interest. Of course, we only care if we have completed gifts. Now, some beneficiaries may be receiving gifts of present interest, while others are getting gifts of future interest. So here's the example. Gwen establishes an irrevocable trust and transfers $1 million to the trustee, who is a bank. The terms are income to Alex for life and the remainder to Evan. Now, there's two completed gifts here. Complete because Gwen has not held on to any strings. Trust is irrevocable. There's a separate trustee. That's it. Okay, so we'll look at each one separately. Now, that gift of an income interest to Alex. Alex has the immediate right to income from the property, assuming that it must be paid at least annually. And that means that Alex has received a gift of a present interest, and Gwen gets one annual exclusion for the gift to Alex. Now, what about the remainder to Evan? Well, Evan does not have an immediate right to income from the property, does not have an immediate right to use the property. It's kind of the nature of a remainder. A remainder is a future interest, right? And so Evan has received a gift of a future interest, and Gwen does not get an annual exclusion for Evan, right? So notice, however, Evan has received an interest in this trust, and now he owns it right now, and it has value. So he has presently received a gift, but it is a gift of a future interest. Okay, now change this a little bit. Same as before, income to Alex, remainder to Evan, but the trustee now has complete discretion about whether to distribute income or to accumulate it and pay it to Alex's issue. Okay, the remainder is the same. That's still a future interest. No change. But what about Alex? He still has the income interest, but he might not ever get any. The trustee has discretion to accumulate it. And that means that this is a gift of a future interest. Notice that it is still a completed gift to Alex, but there's no annual exclusion. That's what's at stake here. Okay, change it a little bit. Income to Alex and Betsy in equal shares, and then the remainder to Evan. Well, the remainder still is exactly the same. Nothing changes. That's a future interest. No annual exclusion. But now we have two income interests. And so we ask the same question for each of them. Do they have an immediate right to use, enjoyment, possession, or income? And assuming that the income will be paid at least annually, yes, they do. And Gwen gets 2 annual exclusions. Isn't that slick? Yeah. Of course, now Alex and Betsy are each only getting half the income. Okay, same, except that now the trustee has complete discretion to distribute income in whatever proportion to Alex, Betsy, Claude, and Dinah. Right? Remainder to Evan at the death of the last income beneficiary. Okay, same analysis for the remainder. That's a gift of a future interest. No annual exclusion for the gift to Evan. But what about those 4 income interests? Alex, Betsy, Claude, and Dinah. How many annual exclusions does Gwen get for that? What do you think? Did you pick none? None is correct. Right? Here, that trustee discretion means nobody knows whether he or she will get anything. And even though there are 4 completed gifts, Gwen has no control, but there are no present interests here. So Gwen gets no annual exclusions. Right? Different analysis. Gift, complete, annual exclusion. So is that clear? I hope that's clear. If there's discretion on the part of the trustee about whether to distribute income, then there's no present interest for the income beneficiary. If there's any chance that the income beneficiary won't get income this year, there's usually not a present interest. And the result is no annual exclusion when I give the property to the trust. We may have an annual exclusion later. We'll get to that. We only care because there's a completed gift, and that could result in some tax consequences. So completed gift, that's the first question. Then we ask present interest, annual exclusion. Okay, so we've got some tricky things coming up, and that's what we'll be talking about in class. How do you give gifts to minor children, given that we probably don't want to just give them large sums of money and let them spend it all on candy? And how do you make, is there some way we could make bigger gifts to a trust and qualify for more annual exclusions, even though in general we've set it up so it wouldn't qualify? So we'll look at some more advanced ways of thinking about the annual exclusion in class. Thanks for joining me on this. There we go, yeah. Lots of camels. That means this is the end. Thanks for watching.